It's Thursday, April 8th, 2021, and the morning edition is live. On today's show, we introduce you to a mother with a challenging life and an adult child unable to fend for himself. Find out more about social media addiction. And we speak to a business owner trying to stay above water through the COVID-19 pandemic. So let's start the morning off right.
Stop trying. Good morning, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis.
And good, pleasant morning to everybody out there. Yes, Charles Fisher.
Officially, over when I was on vacation, my parents.
You thought about me a lot. That's it. Just admit it. You thought about me a lot. You were wondering how I was coping. And
so I know my parents. They took the vaccine. I'm closely monitoring them to see how they're progressing very well.
Well, I know some persons that have already taken the vaccine. They seem to be doing okay. I'm getting up there in age, so I have to take it.
What, 40 plus?
No, I'm not 40 yet. I'm just 39, 38,
yeah.
soon to be 40.
So you're going to take the vaccine? Because I'm still a bit...
yeah, I'm going to take it.
I don't know.
I'm definitely going to take it. Because when I was young and I was born, I didn't know I'd take the measles and all them other things. So just will close my eyes and I take it and I wouldn't know.
I know we have an exciting show this morning. I see that Keisha is going to be going fishing.
Keisha is going to try her nails at fishing. Then we're going out on the water. You, as normal, has a nice, interesting story coming up. Lloyd is also going to share his story with the young gentleman right there. So it's an exciting show coming up.
And you have something special you're going to be doing.
Yeah, we're going to see who have the most hula hoop wine. This one is a competition between LaDawn and I. So you can put your choice in, sit down on your couch, get ready for some laughter, and you'll see how, she went on vacation. I just want to see if she learned anything over vacation. And
he was actually practicing this morning.
Yeah, I was practicing.
I had no practice.
I practiced because I have to win this one this morning. There's a hula hoop contest, so that's coming up. But let's first go out to the streets where Lloyd Allen, he doesn't have any rhythm, so he's not part of the hula hoop contest this morning, but he's out there making sure the streets are safe.
The traffic report is sponsored by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
Well, good morning, LaDawn and Fisher. And just a quick correction there. I do have a whole lot of rhythm. And this morning, of course, we're giving you a rhythmic feed of your traffic flow. This one coming in from Robinson Road and Market Street. Now, one of the things that I like about these traffic drops in the morning is the beautiful sights that we see in the morning. And from where I'm standing, it's a beautiful sunrise here in the Bahamas. The weather is a little interesting, but of course, persons can dress for that. In this area, of course, we've seen a lot of pedestrian traffic. That's some advice from motorists to drive with caution and care in this area. In addition to that, there's many public buses that use this area, and so of course we want to advise those buses to utilize those bus stops as they're making their routes. In other parts of the capital, we do want to remind you of roadwork projects that are ongoing, particularly in areas like Blake Road and Wolf Road and others. If you do approach any of those, we advise you to drive with caution and care to avoid any possible delays. In other parts of the country, of course, we do want to remind motorists to drive with caution and care. We've been getting increasing reports from Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Division that accidents with some injury have been occurring in some of those family islands. And so, of course, to those persons in areas like Cat Island, Rum Cay, San Salvador, and other areas, we want to remind you to drive nice and slow within the speed limit to avoid any possible collisions or delays. Now, that's a quick wrap-up of a traffic report around the country coming in from right here.
But before you go, Lloyd, I see that nice sunset is in the background. You spoke about those buses in the area stopping here and there. Is that a problem there this morning?
Well, again, Fisher, like I said, many persons in this area are on foot. I imagine they're going to their morning destination. And so the bus stops are clearly labeled. Right behind me, of course, I know some buses tend to utilize this as a waiting area for some of their patrons. But of course, there's several bus stops along the way. There is no obstruction at this time. And so, of course, if those bus drivers rather, are watching, we want to advise them to use those bus stops as they're making their rounds throughout the day. Back to you guys in your cozy seats back in the studio.
Thanks a lot, Lloyd. Let's take a look now at the weather. 59 degrees, winds northeast at 2 miles per hour, humidity 82%. Today, very cloudy and warm with a slight chance of an isolated shower or two throughout the night. High temperature 81 degrees Fahrenheit, low tonight 63. Looking at your extended forecast Friday, mostly sunny, 82 high in the day, 62 at night. As for your weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 82 in the day for both days, 67 and 71 at night. And heading into next week, temperatures between 83 and 81 at night. They are dropping to low 70, even some 69s expected.
Let's take a look now at stories making news headlines.
The Ministry of Health releasing its latest COVID-19 figures during a nationally televised press conference on Wednesday. Health Minister the Honorable Renwood Wells reporting 26 newly confirmed infections, pushing the national total now to 9,296. He also outlined the conditions of patients detained in public health facilities.
There are 9 moderately ill COVID-19 patients hospitalized in the Grand Bahama healthcare system. There are no patients currently in intensive care in Grand Bahama. Here in New Providence, there are 14 hospitalized COVID-19 patients at Doctors Hospital. 11 are moderately ill, and 3 are currently in the intensive care unit. There are 2 moderately ill COVID-19 patients being treated at the South Beach Acute Care and Referral Center.
In the coming months, more vaccines for COVID-19 are expected to be made available through the COVAX facility that has already supplied the country with more than 50,000 doses. Country representative for the Pan American and World Health Organization, Dr. Eldona Bozen, says the benefits that the vaccines bring in the fight against COVID-19 can't be overstated.
Globally, over 604 million vaccine doses have been administered. And this is a hopeful step in the response to the pandemic. In the past 2 weeks, most countries in the Caribbean have received COVID-19 vaccines through COVAX. As you know, last Tuesday, the Bahamas received 33,600 doses and another 67,200 doses are scheduled to arrive in May. As more vaccines get WHO emergency use approval and manufacture vaccines is scaled up, we anticipate that vaccine supply through COVAX will steadily increase in the coming months.
Administrative staff and teachers, homebound, physically challenged residents, hospitality workers, public transportation workers, employees of the Lynden Pinling International Airport, Nassau Airport Development Company, Nassau Cruise Port, the Storm Market, port and beach vendors, tour operators, and students and athletes studying or competing abroad have been added to the list of eligible persons able to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. These individuals can make COVID-19 vaccination appointments to Loyola Hall on Gladstone Road, the Church of God of Prophecies East Street Tabernacle, Kendall Isaacs Gym, Atlantis and Bahama Resorts for hospitality workers, and the Susan J. Wallace Community Center in Grand Bahama. Tourism officials remain focused on generating demand for existing air travel to the Bahamas. Minister of Tourism and Aviation, the Honorable Dionisio de Aguilar, says this is imperative so airline operators don't go to more lucrative destinations.
We have to ensure that we put sufficient marketing resources around in a place where there is lift to the Bahamas. And so we want to focus on the more traditional airlines because they're the ones that will provide the lift into the Bahamas, namely American, Delta, JetBlue, Southwest. We're speaking to a number of other airlines like Frontier and of course United also comes in out of Denver.
In news from the courts, Apostle Julian Johnson of Sufficient Grace International Ministries is out on bail. He was granted $1,000 bail after being charged with 1 count of intentional libel on Tuesday. His case in relation to the widely circulated video on Facebook in which a man appearing to be Johnson accused Commissioner of Police Paul Roll of sexually assaulting young women on the force. Johnson's trial is set to begin at 10 a.m. on July 28th. Officials of the Bahamas Resource and Educational Source for Autism, better known as REACH Bahamas, waking up this morning with huge smiles on their faces as they received the gift of a lifetime from the government. Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis, was the keynote speaker at the organization's 9th annual Lighted Blue Drive through event last evening at the Queen's College on Village Road. He promised the organization a $100,000 subvention, which he fulfilled, and add to that much-needed land for their operation.
You can lease at $750 per year for 3 years. For 3 years, 3 acres of property in the Gladstone Road area. And at the end of 3 years, you can purchase such property. And you have my commitment that at the end of 3 years after completing the $750 per year lease, you would be able to purchase the property at $500.
Bahamian big man DeAndre Ayton and the Phoenix Suns continuing to stay scorching hot in the NBA. Last night they took down the league-leading Utah Jazz 117-113 in a possible preview of the Western Conference Finals. Some Laker fans may have something to say about that. Another double-double for D. He had 18 points and 12 rebounds in 41 minutes. The Suns are now 36-14, just 1.5 games behind the Utah Jazz at 38-13. The Suns are in LA tonight for another high-powered matchup with the reloaded Clippers.
And when we come back, the story of a mother with a challenging life and an adult child unable to fend for himself. You're watching The Morning Edition. Around the world, the news of a pregnancy is welcomed as a hope of a bright future for them and their child are virtually limitless. But for one mother, those dreams continue to dwindle due to a challenging life and an adult child unable to fend for himself. Here's Lloyd Allen.
Many children develop a dream, either to become a lawyer, a doctor, or even a journalist. But for 23-year-old Daniel Newbold, his dream is simple: to one day take care of himself and his mother. In 1997, the then 24-year-old Emily Newbold says she was excited to give birth to her only child, Daniel. Like any parent, she had high hopes of a bright future, but that was short-lived after discovering a number of challenges.
He's disabled, and I'm a single parent with him. His father passed away, and he cannot walk, but he could use his upper body.
Newbold explains in the initial months after Daniel's birth, she attempted to discover the cause of his condition. However, it remains unclear.
The doctors over at PMH said that his brain's caused him, they cannot walk. I raise a little cookout and I take him away. And the doctors away said he nothing wrong with his brain.
While it was comforting to discover that mentally her son was normal, it remains a struggle for Emily in getting Daniel the care he needs in harnessing life skills and to one day become independent. Having only completed 5th grade, 23-year-old Daniel spends most days indoors. With mounting concerns and bills, Emily does celebrate some tasks that her son is able to execute.
When I wash, he'll sort out his clothes, and when I clean up, he'll fix the chairs the way he want them fixed, and like wipe them off when he ready. The little things he do could be able to help himself in if something should happen, God forbid, if something should happen, he'll have an idea what to do for himself.
Challenged with limited vocabulary, we had a chance to speak with Daniel, who shared a little about his life.
You have a favorite kind of car? Are you damn serious? You don't got a favorite kind of car? Any car's good.
Yes, sir.
Wow. You do want to walk one day.
Yes, sir.
How tall do you think you would be if you could walk?
I know.
You think you'd be taller than me?
Yes, sir.
You think you'd be taller than your mom?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Daniel hopes to one day be a bus driver, but for now, his world revolves around watching television, keeping house, and making his mother happy.
And as we head to the break, we take a look back at today in Bahamian history. On April 8, 1944, a new police station opened in Fox Hill to increase the protection of the Eastern District. Also on April 8, 1994, the government granted Canadian company Cable 2000 a 15-year franchise to supply cable television to all areas of the Bahamas except Freeport in Grand Bahama.
Social engagement has become one of the most widely discussed necessities over the past year for many in the modern world. But is it possible to overindulge, leading to a kind of addiction? Today, our Lloyd Allen shares more on what can save you from social media addiction. Residents on Harbor Island say despite a scare from the COVID-19 pandemic, spring break saw an economic boost on that touristic island. Chief Councilor Terrence Davis Jr. says this time around last year, Harbor Island, like many other islands, was under a 24-hour curfew. However, he says despite it all, he says he is pleased that the island was able to see some light at the end of the tunnel.
We are very grateful, to have the amount of tourists, internationally and domestic tourists, here on our island, traveling from other islands, traveling from other countries, just to enjoy our island. We would have had a little scare with the uptick in COVID cases. I think that the health officials jumped on it really quick, where it was able to curtail, what could have been a possible huge outbreak.
Captain Troy Brown has turned an old, ordinary raft into a business venture, and Tiki Floating Bar is now the name, and it's someplace you may like to visit.
Purchased from a gentleman in Eleuthera some years back, and brought it here to Nassau and converted it into a floating bar.
Right now, he employs over 20 persons. He also serves the best in Bahamian cuisine.
That really caters to mariners, boaters, yachties, so we cater into the tourists and Bahamians themselves who like to go boating and do stuff on the water. You could get fresh conch right out of the water. As you can see in the front, we have hundreds of conch in the water, fresh conch, and then we get the fish right there directly from the water and put it straight on the grill. So you get the real Bahamian feel of what it is to be on the water.
Located right behind Malcolm Park, not in the view of passing customers. So if you're not looking, there are no signs, so you may miss it.
This is a floating bar that's mobile. It can be anywhere. But we choose this area so the Bahamians could patronize the ones who don't have boats, could come here as well as boaters, so they could drive up here and just pull in and enjoy the Bahamian lifestyle on the water, as well as the boaters. The whole thing about that is to become a part of the landmark that we have here, the green space, the park, as well as Porterski Dock, Paradise Island, which is right here, the bridge. Everything is right around us. It's a perfect location for everyone. So once we are able to put the signage and stuff in place that really attracts everybody and show them, direct them exactly where the floating bar, and not only floating bar, but a floating village is located. Because that's the main concept for me. I want to create a floating village here. There'll be a floating spa. There'll be a floating, just a conch stand.
Under these restrictions due to the pandemic, how has Captain Brown been able to stay above water?
Because we're on the water, business been pretty good. We have persons with boats, and because of, I guess with COVID, being on the boat, it's on open air, and you're family oriented being on the boat, so that makes it even better for you to be able to enjoy the water in open air without being around other persons. It get crowded here sometimes from the land, okay? People come here because they all want to experience the floating bar concept, and not only that, they all want to just try to get away from everybody else, but then they come here and realize that it's open air, and that makes it much easier for them to hang out. During COVID, with the type of distancing, it happens. We do follow all the protocols, as you can see, but it's difficult sometimes,
So, LaDawn, when you were on vacation, did you go out boating? Did you do any fishing? Just
I did
ride
a little
around
bit.
the
I did a little
ocean?
bit of fishing. I think we need to do the jet lag thing.
What you caught?
I caught like a strawberry grouper.
A grunt?
Not a grunt.
Goggle eye?
The yellow, what is the yellowtail type thing, yeah.
Seaweed.
No, seagulls. The seagulls took my
The
meat.
yellowtail
yeah,
is
they took my
seaweed.
bait.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna lie. One time ago, I was afraid to go on boats. Like when I was young, you hear stories about going in boats, and then as I go, I love out on the ocean, a nice breeze. Well, you have a hair that can blow, so it just blows through my ears and tries to clean out all this craziness I be thinking. It come back on land and it comes right back in, but. Oh, I just love boating. I just wish this all would over so I could just take a cruise and get around the Caribbean or somewhere.
And I saw the floating body. I only saw a group of
We're
what kind of drinks do
we're
they
going
have?
there one day. I'm not.
The entire crew,
yeah,
everybody?
I'm taking the entire crew one day, so we're not. I'm going to treat the entire crew there. I don't know if it's going to be this year or next year, but it's going to come in a year, but not this year, not next year. I'm going to treat you guys out there.
And you're going to treat Roscoe as well?
Yeah, Roscoe.
Wow.
Treat my good cameraman Roscoe who shot that stuff for me, so it's going to be good. Are you ready for some hula hooping?
We'll have to see. I don't know, but stay tuned.
What was your favorite thing as a child? Top, marbles, hopscotch?
I just ran around barefoot shooting marbles with the boys.
Now explains the reason for her size 12 shoes. We're going to take a break. Be right back. Well, Ladonna, I was riding around the other day and I saw some young girls, they were doing the hula hoop, and I say, wow, that brought back so much memories. And I was saying, I should bring that to the morning edition. I wonder if Ladonna has the rhythm to do that. You have the hula hoop in your hand, so...
My favorite color, too.
So let's see if you can hula hula or hula hula.
Okay, so I'm going to put it on, guys.
Oh, no. Lloyd, you see what I said? No rhythm. Oh.
What? For sure.
I see why you walked around barefoot as a child. Give me this, man. Give me this. You know, let me show the tricks of the trade. How long is it supposed to stay on?
For like 2 seconds.
Let me put on 1, 2. I got that rhythm, eh?
Just a little
Come in here, Lloyd. Come in here, Lloyd.
Come on in.
Come in here, Lloyd. Let's see if you get in. Let's see if you get any kind of rhythm. Ain't nobody able to keep this up. Oi!
Just a little.
You want to try again?
Yeah, let me try it again. Let me see how this works.
Read what's there. Read what's there.
Be sure to stay tuned to the ZapNet Network for news as it happens, TV and radio updates throughout the day. Then you can tune into Live at 5, the Northern Edition, and the Bahamas tonight at 7. Have a great morning, everyone.
Let me try this.
I remember one Saturday night we had fried fish and